Received a phone call early this morning from an individual. His name is Charlie, and Charlie reached out to me. To be honest, I don't know who Charlie is. This is just the name he gave me. But he called and he said, "Is this the pastor?" And I said, "This is Pastor Miguel. How can I help you?" And he says, "Yeah, Pastor, I got your phone number because I'm in need. I need money. I need clothing. I need this." And he started giving me a list of things that he needed. And I asked him how he got my phone number. He said, "I got your phone number because, well, I'm in need." And he says, and this is what I need from you. And he gives me this laundry list of things that he needed. And I say to him, I say, "Charlie, I sympathize with you and the struggles you're going through right now. Our church is a relatively young church, so what we can offer to you today is not what we could offer later on down the road. But what we can offer today is spiritual support." And he said, "Well, I'm a Christian. I've been a Christian for 20 years. I said, "Then you know how important it is to maintain the faith. And you know how important it is to keep hope alive, even in the most difficult time of your life." I said, "Charlie, if you are going through a difficult moment, you need to have a church that can uplift you and keep you strong in the faith. I can pray with you. We can go through the scripture and we can believe in God and make the necessary steps that are necessary. Again, the support we can give today is not the same we could give tomorrow, but we can at least initiate with hope." What do you think took place? I'm not going to leave you in suspense very long. I'll tell you what Mr. Charlie did. He hung up on me. And the truth is that oftentimes we want a solution, but we don't want anything that has to do with us doing the work. We want a solution oftentimes, but the solution we want is that we want heaven to open up, God to supply everything to change like that. That's the type of solution that oftentimes people want. And oftentimes we have this attitude where we want God to move the mountain, want God to do something. Here's what the scripture says. The scripture says, "If you have faith, you will speak to the mountain and it will move." I don't want you to miss this. I don't want you to miss this, because here's the powerful thing. Faith speaks to the past, and we've got hope that speaks to the future. I'll say it again. Faith speaks about the past, and hope speaks about the future. What does that mean, Pastor? That means this. That means that faith reminds you of the times you've had blessing, reminds you of the times you've had breakthrough. Faith reminds you of those things. And hope says, if you saw glory once, if you saw providence once, if you saw blessing once, then you can see it again. And that's the relationship between faith and hope. Now, don't miss this, because he said, if you have faith, you'll tell the mountain to move. And what he is saying is, if you remember the things I did, if you remember the words I've given you, if you remember my word, my promises, then you can tell the difficulty to move. Then you can manage the situation. But too often, we want more than what we can manage. And the difficulty is that we forget what God has said. Let me tell you something. I can't manage a thing if God is not at the center of my life. I'm talking about me, not you. Maybe you different. Maybe you different. Maybe you got it under control. But if you're like me, I can't manage a thing if God isn't at the center. So often people are like this gentleman, Charlie, which I offered to pray with. I was like, "Hey, I'm here with you. I sympathize. The support we can give today is not what we can give later on." And Charlie hung up on me. And it was interesting because I didn't recognize the phone number because, like I said, I don't know the gentleman. So I initially answered it in speakerphone as I was multitasking, getting ready for work. And my daughter heard the phone call. And she said, "Well, why'd they hang up?" Because oftentimes life brings some challenges, but oftentimes we create some challenges in life. You cannot have more than what you can manage. God won't give you more than what you can manage. So if you're looking at your circumstance right now and you say, "Man, I wish things were different," ask yourself, how can I better manage this to welcome what God has offered and promised to me?